Hello, I'm Gail Gross, and I'm glad to welcome you to my virtual open house for the 2021 new core catalog from Close to My Heart. This is such a wonderful catalog, full of so much. It's much larger than our catalog was last year, and it's got so much more in it that you're going to be enjoying for a full 12 months. I'm not just going to be flipping the pages through this book. I've actually made lots of projects with the materials, and I want you to see what's possible with them. And who knows, some of them might even end up in an upcoming class. In addition, I want you to know that I'm going to be doing another video walkthrough for the seasonal book. Now, this book will only be good for September and October, but I want to give it its own separate viewing. And so that will be in a day or two. You'll find that up on my YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, click that subscribe button now so that you'll get a notice in your inbox as soon as it's available for you. Now, I want to start by taking a look at some of those brand new colors that we've got for this year. I need to switch the camera, so hold on just a second. Okay, so the first color that we've got is Bluebell. Bluebell is the new color of the year, and it is gorgeous. You can see all of the different things that Close to My Heart has created using this color. Of course, there's the ink. This is the dye ink, but it's also available as a pigment ink, so that if you want to do special projects and do embossing with it, that's possible. We have the lovely glitter paper full of shine, and it's going to be a great color to work with. There's shimmer trim, which means you don't have to cut up this big sheet if all you want is just a little strip on there. There are loose sequins, great in shaker cards. You can also apply them individually to projects. And of course, you need some embellishment, some bling. So we've got pearls in 3 different sizes, and the glitter gems in the large and the small size, all in the Bluebell color. And of course, we've got to have our cardstock. So let's take a look. The cardstock, as you know, with Close to My Heart, is 2-sided. You see, if I take this piece and I flip it over, it's lighter on the back side. So that's what I've got you seeing right here, the dark and the light of the Bluebell, and how it coordinates so nicely with that stamp pad. One thing I forgot to mention, and I want you to know, is that if you don't have the catalog right now in hand, so that you can't flip to the pages and follow along with us, then you can go to my Close to My Heart website, scrappingailaz.ctmh.com. Click on the More tab at the top, and it will take you right to the catalog. And it can be a full page view as you go through this and get to the pages that we're talking about. So be sure to check that out if you don't have the catalog in hand. Now, all of these new colors are on pages 97 through 99 of the catalog. So if you want to follow along with me, you can do that. We have 7 more new colors besides Bluebell. Now, Bluebell, because it is the color of the year, will only be around for 12 months. So I'm going to put that one right over there. Let's take a look at these other colors. We have Flamingo. Flamingo is a great pink, and you're seeing here the 2 sides of the paper. And they like to stick together. Then we've got Grape. Grape is a beautiful deep purple, and again, 2 sides to the paper. Sundance is a deeper toned yellow, and again, the light side of this will work well, very well throughout the year. I think of this darker color in the fall, and that's going to be great to use as we start projects for that right now. Our new green is called Avocado. It's got a deep, bold color here and the lighter side on the back. And there's the stamp pad. Now, the next 3 colors I find coordinate really well with one another. And I'm going to show you that as we go through them. This first one is called Desert Rose. While it does have that rosy tone to it, it's a perfect neutral, and I've been finding it to be very versatile, both the light and the dark side of the cardstock. Then we've got cinnamon, okay? And I'm going to pull Desert Rose down. Cinnamon is a really deep, rich color, and you can see its two tones here, but look how well it coordinates with Desert Rose. And finally is our new red, and that is Scarlet. Okay, so Scarlet here with the dark and the light colors, and then you look at these three together and you can just see how the color kind of flows through them and makes for a nice coordinating project. So those are going to be really fun to work with. So let's take a look here at all of those brand new colors that you can get now at Close to My Heart. In the front of the catalog on pages 8 through 15, we now have a number of pattern papers that will be available for the entire year. This will be wonderful because you'll always have access to these if you're working on a long-term project, or if you've just got something that needs these particular papers, and they'll be there for you when you need them. So let's take a look at them. Several of the sets come, as our seasonal sets come, with a sticker sheet. This set is called Lovely, and it truly is lovely. Look at those colors, just so springy right now, but I can see them being used truly for babies, for weddings, for birthdays, just about anything. And of course, these little stickers that come off and you can apply to any project are the size that would work great on cards as well as scrapbook projects. Now, the colors of the papers. What I'll be showing you is the two-sided. So this is one side and this is the other side. The pack comes with 24 sheets, 12 separate designs that are double-sided. So you really get a good amount of paper with this. Paper number 1. Paper number 2. I love this green with that purple and pink for paper number 3. Actually, it's 12 total sheets. You get 6 designs. Paper number 4, the plaid and the floral. Very versatile, because if you don't like the floral, you can just flip it over and use the plaid side. Paper number 5 with the pink polka dots and then the multi-purpose stripes. And the last pattern paper has this beautiful floral with the butterflies, and then the design pattern here. I want to say it's a trefoil, but I know that it is not. So that is the paper pattern called Lovely. Next, you might see that we've got a birthday paper. It's called Party Time. Again, stickers that will work on your projects, okay? Now again, this paper is double-sided. So let's take a look at how that's going to work. The first side is a very bold birthday print with confetti on the opposite side. What I like about this sheet is that one side of the gifts can be perfect for the girls, and the other side if you want a more neutral or masculine coloring on it. The same with the balloon pattern. You've got the pinks, and then you've got the blues and greens. The next one, while it's got the pink on one with candles, the more neutral pattern is the stars, which can be used for a variety of things. It doesn't even have to be birthdays. These next 2 pages are really fun and bold. And again, they don't speak birthday unless you make them into birthday. And the final pages, again, are very neutral as far as their uses, with the polka dots and the plaid pattern. So again, you get 12 sheets. You can opt to have the sticker sheet added to the pack, or you can get it just with the paper. 12 sheets, 6 designs, double-sided. When I saw this paper pack, I was so excited because I have always loved the wood grains that Close to My Heart has come up with over the years. And what we have now is a full set of 12 sheets of paper with the wood grains. So again, here you go. It's front and back. Front and back. And you can see that you've got browns as well as grays with this. Front and back. So you're going to have a lot of versatility with these papers to add to whatever project you are working on, front and back. And front and back. One more page coming. So the wood grain patterns are just the perfect thing to add to just about any project that you're working on. Now, the next set of papers do not have a front and back because they are foiled. We've got a set of gold and we have a set of silver, okay? Let me show these, and you can see that you've got a beautiful floral pattern, kind of just a random pattern, this pattern on this one looks like a image of a flower, but it's not a flower, but it's very symmetrical. It just is in columns and rows. So unlike the random pattern here, a geometric shape, small polka dots in gold, and small stripes in gold. So now we go to the silver, and we find we have a floral. This time it's a leaf pattern. Our random pattern is the stars. Then we have the symmetrical hearts. Our geometric is a plaid. We have large circles and a wide stripe. So if you are one that likes to combine gold and silver on a single project, you can see how easy it would be to put some of these together, whatever way you want to make them work. Those are going to be fun. But again, single-sided because of the foiling that's on them. The back of the catalog is where you will find these other specialty papers. They're on pages 63 to 65. And we have a new product line this year with the introduction of Ore and Pearl. This pearl paper is just, you can see the sheen to it. And it is just a white pearlescent, gorgeous. And then the two ores are a bronze and a black. And they're a very heavyweight cardstock that will give you a little bit of shimmer without being too glitzy. Perfect for masculine cards or those people that don't want glitter. And if you do want glitter, look at our 6 new colors on the palette. This is Ballerina. It is very light, but there is definitely a pink tone to it. Bluebird, which I've already shown you, but it goes so nicely with the new Sapphire. I mentioned how versatile Desert Rose is, and here it is in a glitter paper, which is great. Evergreen is our green glitter paper, and of course Scarlet is one of the new colors for this year. Now, holographic paper made its introduction with Close to My Heart in about 2 catalog cycles ago, and they are really fun to work with. You can see how reflective they are because you're seeing my overhead camera mount as you look at this piece of Twinkle Toes. 3 new colors, Twinkle Toes, Majestic, and Sunbeam. So you can see that the Twinkle Toes has more of a bronzy tone to it. Sunbeam is definitely a yellow, and the Majestic picks up the purples and the blues. Really fun to work with. Now, in the catalog, as you continue on to page 64, you're going to see a couple of other things with specialty papers. One is this stencil film. I'm going to get to this more when we talk about the multimedia materials that we now have. But these are the sheets of stencil film, a wonderful weight that cuts well with your die cut machine. You can also use it with your dies through your die cutting, roller die cutting machine. In addition, on this page, and here you can see the stencil film, next to it is the Distress Watercolor cardstock. You're going to notice that I'm going to be talking about a number of Ranger products. Seems like we've been partnering with them more and more. And this is an 8.5 by 11 distressed watercolor cardstock. A number of years ago, when we first came out with watercolors, we came out with a flat watercolor paper, which was great so you could stamp on it. A couple of years ago, we switched over to a watercolor paper that had texture to it. This is a double-sided watercolor paper. So one side is smooth and one side has the texture, but it's in the larger 8.5 by 11 size. I know that I've seen it in other stores, but they're smaller sheets. So this gives you a larger size to work with. And those are going to be fun to have. The other thing, while it's not exactly a paper per se, but we have brought back a perpetual calendar. And I don't have a project with it, and I don't have the perpetual calendar at this time. But it is 11.25 inches long and 6.25 inches wide. And it has a wooden backing that's cut in a scallop shape. So it's something that you can display it on and work with. And that is on page 65 of your catalog. Back to the front of the book for the how-to programs. We have several of them that are how-to books, and then the complete programs, which are you have an overview of here on pages 6 and 7, but then more in-depth information in pages 40 through 49. And I'll refer that for you later on. The first is The Love of Color. This book first came out 2 years ago with an introduction that gave us a showing of different colors and what were the possibilities of what you could do with them. So for instance, wisteria or lilac was one, and it's showing you that you could use the pewter or the sapphire with it. The one that surprised me was using the lagoon with it. And the same was true with the wisteria. I have come to use this book a lot. I love the fact that it has an index in the back. Even if you don't have the exact colors that Close to My Heart has, but you can look and say, well, I've got a blue that looks like this. What are the possibilities of what I can do with that blue? You go then to page 30, and on page 30, it is going to show you what the possibilities are with Carolina. And again, they've brought in some lavender here with the Carolina. That's not something that I would naturally do. So it's been a big help to me. 2 years though, we've introduced about 14 new colors during that time period. So volume 2 is now out, and it is the same way. It has the colors from the last 2 years. So you've got the same kind of index at the back for it, showing you all of those new colors and what you can do with them. Fits perfectly inside of one of the Everyday Life albums. Now, the other 2 books that are at the beginning on page 5 are the Make It From Your Heart books. Okay, Make It From Your Heart, we have volume 3 and we have volume 4. Volume 3 is all about scrapbook layouts. You get patterns, you get cutting guides, and you get samples. Then if you want to do those that are in different sizes, there are some of those as well as those that are making use of Pocket Plus memory protectors, where you can add a strip here with extra photos. So they've got actual options for you to work with that. And then, of course, volume 4 is all about card making. And here's a sample. Here's the sketch, and it tells you the sizes of everything so you can cut it. And here's the card that I actually made a few years ago with that particular sketch following it. So what's new? We've got more pages coming for each of these books. It'll be one book that you will buy, the loose leaf pages again, and you can add them in. I will put the scrapbooking pages into this book, and I will add my card making pages into this. Printing is a little behind on this particular item. It is expected later in 2020 with not a specific date at this point in time. But what I do want to tell you about are the story by Stacy and the Melissa Esplin. They are mentioned at the beginning on pages 6 and 7. But if you go to pages 40 through 49, you will find the details. And this is the Melissa Esplin program. It is penmanship, and you can see her beautiful handwriting. I'm going to be using one of her stamps later on to show you some ideas. You will get ideas on printing and hints on how to print better. Handwriting is always a bugaboo for people. People don't want to see it, but it's really nice when you can make it work. Cursive, and on both of these you get lowercase and you get uppercase. Okay, the same was true with the printing part of it. Then you've got mixing styles, okay, and showing you how you can do some slanted print, slanted cursive, mixing it up using both cursive with printing. But what I love is that Melissa gives you traceable sentiments. That means you could put this down and put a light piece of paper over the top of it and trace it with your own handwriting, getting as close to this as possible, but you would have made it yourself. We sell the pens that go along with this, tracing paper so that you can work on it. It's really a fun project. The other one that is next is the story by Stacy, and I'm going to go to that page in the catalog just to share with you something about it. Story by Stacy is a great way to record your stories. And honestly, isn't that what scrapbooking is all about? But it doesn't have to be a great big 12 by 12 multimedia production. It can be something very calming and simple compared to what we might be used to. So what I'm showing you is that we've got 3 different lines. Let me back up to the very first one that we started with. And that one is called Story Starter. That's right here. Okay, Story Starter. And Story Starter is simply done with a little 4x4 book. Okay, and we've got 3 options right now for this book, and there's a new one coming late in 2020. Okay, so in this, you can start a story and tell something very simple. But the nice thing is Stacy gives you the information in these kits so that you can learn how to retrieve the memories in the attic, as she puts it, so that you can tell that story. Then there's short story, and I really love this concept, and I'm going to be applying it not only to the little 6x6 books, but also to my 12x12 scrapbooking. Again, you've got Lagoon, a multicolored or a black plaid album, and all of these things come together as a kit. Again, telling you how to mix up your photos on the pages, because if you're like me, I am not going to be able to chronologically scrapbook. I need to put all of these into more themes, and you can do a lot with this program. Stories I Love is the other one that comes with a way to just tell the story of a single picture, and that's just really fun. So take a look at all of this, and Storyteller is a way of combining all 3 of those other elements into one single book with multiple sizes of page protectors, something that we probably would never have thought of to do on our own, but Stacy kind of gives us permission to do that. And the thing that I am really excited about is that all of these albums, all of these little 6x6 albums here, and these 4x4 albums here are now available to purchase individually. Okay, so that is what I think is really important, because we are going to be able to make use of them outside of the Story by Stacy format if you want to. This has been a real popular little book for people to make for children. I can see it as one of my Watch Me Grow baby books, just something to give to grandma as a brag book. Really fun. Something I want to point out to you is that the albums, so these are a light vinyl on all of these. And you saw the other book that I had that my how-to books were inside. Those are the Everyday Life 6x8 albums, and they are a vinyl coating on them. But you'll notice this decoration. It is from an SVG file, and I cut it on heat transfer vinyl, and it works perfectly on here. So what I want to show you are those heat transfer patterns that we've got now in the catalog on pages 86 and 87. These are SVG files. You can purchase just one single file, or you can purchase the bundle down here at a savings. Then we have a variety of heat transfer vinyls that will work on any of your die cutting machines that will cut on vinyl. They are just really wonderful to work with. This is a SVG file that was available last year in the catalog. It's not in the catalog this year, but it is available online under the digital file settings. So let's take a look at some of those other size albums. We have these Everyday Life albums in 8.5 by 11. This is the 6x6 size, and this is the new scarlet color. And you saw, and I set it aside, this is the 6x8 size, and that's the 6x6. And then we have the 12x12. You wonder, why would you need a 12x12 when we have all kinds of other albums? We have postbound and D-ring. I'm going to move this around. But sometimes you just have a small project that you want to do, and you don't want it to be moving around inside of a really large album. So this is just a 3-ring binder inside, not the big thick D rings that come in our standard albums. So those are really fun to work with. Now, we also have on the, these, by the way, trying to find places to put the things I'm done with. The albums start on page 88. That includes the full-size ones that I've referred to, but I'm not showing you, as well as the Everyday Life ones and the Story by Stacy albums. Also includes page protectors. Our page protectors are great, but the thing that I want to focus on are the flip-flaps, because they are listed in there under the page protectors. So what is a flip-flap? A flip-flap is a little piece of, it's the same material that the page protector is made out of, that can be used to add photos onto your page. So here, this was an event that Rick and I went to down in Phoenix. The only picture of the two of us that I had is extremely blurry, but I still wanted to document that this was what we looked like that night. So I'm able to hide it back behind this picture of us in the theater seating. Or maybe I've got tickets from the event and I don't want them to be mixed with other things that I'm concerned about preserving with archival material. So that works there. They can also be used, as you know, we just did a card class where I used flip-flaps as a shaker element and added it on to the front of the card. So that's a fun way to use them. We have these flip-flaps in all kinds of sizes, 2x2, 3x3, 2x4, 4, 4x4, 4x6, 5x7, and we have them in 6x12, and they just come back, and I'm so excited about this, in the 8x12 size. And here's a layout I did a number of years ago, where here's the base of the page, here's 3 photos, but this is an 8x12 flip flap. When I open it, I've got a whole nother page underneath it and still following that same theme. So it's a really fun size to work with. I hope that you will consider giving it a try. This is the section of the catalog that I am so impressed with, because we have got 11 pages, 12 pages of thin cuts and embossing folders for you to use that will work for so many projects. And honestly, there's only a few of them that are carried over from previous catalog cycles. I'm going to start here on page 51, and you are going to see that the hexagons are shown on this page. And you've got 5 different sizes of the hexagon which can nestle. I did that with some of the new colors. I started out here with Desert Rose, Avocado, Scarlet, Flamingo, and Grape. So you could put them down in this way. Another option is to use them on your cards in a variety of ways. I made 2 cards recently using the hexagons. For me, they served as a background to make my small images stand out instead of having them be lost on the whole page. So both of these are going to be option cards in my September-October class. So that was a great way to make use of the hexagon shapes. The hexagon, as I said, is shown on page 51, and there's a number of other ones here that I do not have at the present time. There's bows, a small bow and a large bow. These are shown at 100% at true size, so you can get an idea about them. And if you look at the opposite page, you will see this image, this above this, this is us, is that bow that you see on this side with the die cut. You can use it without the tags on the side or with them. So that's how that one's used. I have seen these leaves cut being inked up and then cut with that center punched out of the die. It really is stunning. These flowers become 3-dimensional. And this piece right here is the little stamen that goes in the center of it. I believe that's how it's called. And you can see them up here on this wreath. And you can also see those leaves on the wreath there as well. So those are some really fun ones to be working with. When you flip the page to 52, you start to see the full card front dies. And I've got samples with all of those. Okay, let's set these aside. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the stitched lattice. This is a full 5.5 by 4.25. I cut it out of the new Bluebird paper. I'm going to talk about these stitched brackets later on because I have a number of samples with them. And on this one, I used the new Operation Smile stamp set. This is found on the back of your catalog. It's the one that supports the charity that Close to My Heart works with, and that is Operation Smile. The stamp set retails for $18.95, but $7 of every purchase goes directly to Operation Smile. So that's what I used on this card. You can see that lovely little scalloped edge on that. I'm going to set that one aside. The next one is the heart background, and it cuts out this shape with all of those hearts. You can put a different color behind each one if you want to. I chose to ink the background, and I decided to use one of the little koalas from the stamp set that just retired at the end of August and say, hang in there. Wanted to know there was feelings of love going out, but also it's kind of fun letting them know just to hang in there. So you can see the little stitched lines around every one of those hearts. That one over there. Then comes the floral, oh no, it's olive branch. And those are truly olives on those cuts that come out on this card. And here's what this one looks like. I used canary to cut the die, and then I used cinnamon, the light side of the cinnamon, as the backing for it. This allows you to stamp directly on the front. This is quick and easy to make a card, but my piece dropped to the floor, so I had to go retrieve it. You can also add an overlay, and you could add this to the front of it as well. So there's a lot of options that you've got with this to make it the way you want it to be. The fourth one that is the floral piece. It's just called floral background, and it cuts out this gorgeous die with all of the detail of all those flowers and leaves. I used the light side of flamingo for this one. Let me get it back over here in the center. And I actually inked the background of my paper with ballerina on the card front, just so that I had a little bit of color back there, but not very much. Now, this little envelope is from the seasonal catalog, which I will be talking about in my next video. And it cuts this little mini envelope that is just perfect to put on the front here. You don't need much. And then the little flowers going on the inside of that. So those are the standalone card fronts. What I want to show you is another option that is available, but I do not have it at the present time. So what I did was I found somebody else who had already made use of it. This is the tail end of it. Let me get back, zip back quickly to this. This is called the tabbed door. And you can see here that you have got 8, 11, 14 little doors that open on this. And this will cut it. The piece will have the stitch around the outside and then the doors with little tabs that allow them to open. Here is the Catitude stamp that's in the core catalog, and it is a full card front stamp. So what Julie did is she took it and combined it with a stamp that was out last November called Kitty Cuddles with our Forever Friends special. And it's the same images, just in different styles. So she stamped that front of the card, minimal coloring on it, and you can see that it's been cut. Let's take a look at how it looks when you open up those little doors and find all those little kitty phrases inside. I just think that that is a fun way to work with anything, and you can use that stamp, that die, on just about any card front that you want to. So that is really fun. Now, some other ones that are still there are the multi-windows, both square and circle multi-window frames. And you will find a number of stamp sets in the core book as well as in the seasonal book that are giving you small images that work inside of those. Okay, now we're going to go on, as I mentioned, to the brackets. These are on page 54. On page 54, in addition to the brand new ones that I'm going to show you, these are some that are carried over from one of the seasonal books, a stitched scallop and these stitched bracket labels that I've used quite a bit and I really enjoy them. But the new ones are giving you punched out or die cut images that give you a mat as well as an area for your sentiment. So I am going to be showing you some background pieces that I did with these, and I'm going to come back to explain the background pieces when I talk about multimedia. So here's a background that's been inked, and I can just add that sentiment on from this set, which is called Stitched Scalloped Brackets. Okay. Then there's the set called Simple Brackets. okay? And they are not, have a lot of foo-foo around them. And so I'm putting it on another inked background, and I'll turn the sentiment right side up to say hello, quick and easy card. This is the fancy brackets, and they work together great this way. And I'm going to put those on this embossed piece. And there's the whole card, just like that. If you were doing a 2-size card, this is a 5x7, you can see that it would work just fine. Even if you wanted to go this way on it, it still fits on there. It is not too big. Okay, so those are there. And this is that Melissa Esplin stamp set. Remember I talked about the penmanship program? Melissa was good enough to create several stamp sets for us so that you don't have to do that writing yourself. It looks like handwriting. So that's, you know, really, really good for us. What I've got here is the thin cut for the waterfall card or waterfall element. I've seen these used on scrapbooks as well as cards. It is on page 55 of the catalog, and you can see here it's showing, and it is showing a card front that is using it. What happens with the die is that there are various score lines along the way that allow this to score. And as you pull on this bottom tab, then the elements flip up here. I did not have time to get a sample made, but it will. You can see in the little circle up here, you can see how those folds are allowing that, the small pieces to pop up. And you get everything on this die. You get banners to decorate with. You get those small cutout pieces that you're going to put on those folded lines, and the instruction piece that comes with it. So be sure to know that I will be making one of these and we'll be demonstrating that very soon. If you turn the page here on to page 56, you're going to see alphabets. You're going to wonder, well, why do I need alphabets with the dies? Well, we've got several. So this set right over here is a full set, and look how large these dies are. Here's just your standard 2x3 Post-it note. Okay, so they're good size, they're sturdy, and lots of versatility. You not only get the letters, all uppercase, but you also get the numbers along with this and minimal punctuation. Over on the other side of the page, you see a regular, smaller looking alphabet set, which is actually on page 38 here, where you can see it full size. Okay, so this is much larger than what you're seeing over here. They come as 2 separate stamp sets, but there is a single set of dies that coordinate with both of them. And that together, get the dies in both stamp sets. It'd be a perfect half price item if you qualify for that. I also wanted to go back to the alphabets on page 38 because there's this cute little one that again has some dies with it. So it's appropriate to talk about it with our thin cuts. Here's a little project that I made with that, okay? So what it is that you have the alphabet set, and then you get these little tiny banner pieces that you cut out, and there's stitched lines at the top of those. That kind of indicates where the twine or whatever would go across it. I didn't use that. I just laid them down and used a marker to go in between them. But I used white cardstock to cut them all out of. And then the stamp set has these background images. I did this in mint. Maybe on the heart one here, you can see it a little bit more. And it just has a really light color to it. And then I stamped all of my letters and put them down to make my banner. Really fun, can be used on cards. It'd be a quick, easy way to do a personalized sentiment for somebody on a card. So that is, even with the dies, it's only $17.95. So that's a great deal to add to your card making ideas. Okay, back here to our thin cut dies. When you flip the page to 58, you're going to find the shaker elements. We still have the circle, we still have the happy birthday, but now we can make shaped shakers with the star and the heart, okay? I only have the star, but I did this, and what you've got is you have the dies. You have this large piece right here, which cuts the outer top for the star. This piece, I take it out, you can see it better. So here's your bracket that goes around the outside edge. This is the backing piece that you build on. And then those two pieces that came out of the centers, instead of just leaving that empty, they created confetti pieces for you to go inside of here. Then, just like with the circles, we have shaker window, foam, and acetate. So here's where I removed the foam piece to go for the star shaker. And then I've got all these other pieces left over to use. And of course, there is the acetate piece as well. It's kind of hard to see here, but maybe on top of this you can see it. So with the shape on it. So you've got a shape and you don't have to worry about doing the other. Now, what I want you to know is that there's also a heart as well. Let's take a look. First of all, here's another shaker element that was done using the star that I just showed you. And this is a gatefold card that opens up. And so she was able to use the same star backing piece to do that hidden piece back behind. I thought that was pretty cute. Then here are the elements that go with the heart. So you get the same frame piece, backing piece, and confetti. And again, you get acetate and foam pieces are available to use with this one as well. Now, inside of my heart star, I used some new embellishments that are called bitty beads, and I'll be talking to you more about that, but they're really fun in there. The stamp set that I used for this birthday is this one called Wishing You Everything. It has the dies for the banner and this word happy. It's a 2-layer stamp there. You have lots of happy everything, happy anniversary, happy day, etc. But I just wanted to share with you that that little heart, not heart, I'm sorry, that's a floral arrangement, is what I used on this inside the envelope right here. It just fit perfectly inside, so I thought that was perfect. Now, there are also on the bottom right page of 59, there is the ability to do a window shaker card, okay? The die that you get has multiple pieces to it. The die for the window, a transom window that would go above, shutters if you're doing an outside looking in view, and a cornice piece and a bottom piece for it. This could double as a flower box outside combined with this. So there's lots of possibilities. So this first one I did looking in at a Christmas scene. It's an old stamp set, but there are several options in the seasonal catalog of Christmas and images that would fit in this really perfectly for you to see a whole scene. And I did not make this into a shaker. I just made it into, we're looking in the window. Then I did one with a seasonal tree. Again, there are seasonal trees in the catalog in the stamp section. I do not have those, but I had a set from several years ago. I used it. I built up a pile of leaves down here. And again, I use those little tiny bitty beads to make it look like all of the leaves are down there on the ground. So really fun to work with. And what you use for these to create this is the set of the square shaker window foam and acetate. These were designed I thought originally just to coordinate with the square frame dies that we have. We also have the rectangle frame dies that are falling off their sheet here. So we'll just stick them back there. And we also have a set of rectangle sheets of foam and acetate. Let me show you how that foam works. The foam piece on the square has 3 sets of square for the backing. It has a large one here. You can see as I pull that off, you've got the large one. That would work behind this large frame. I use the middle size one. You can see where it came out right here. And that's what I used on the window. Then we have a small square, and that would be down here. Okay, so you get 2 sheets of this. So you can do 2 large, 2 medium, 2 small, and you get 2 of each of those sizes on the acetate piece to go on front. So you can turn dies you already have into great creations without having to piece things together on your foam, and you've already got your acetate. So that is just really fun to work with on that part of it. Stamps, of course, are an integral part of what I use, what I do as a business, and what most people think of when they think of making cards. But you've already seen we have so much else that works with it as well. So starting on page 16 in your catalog are a number of stamp sets. I'm going to flip through the majority of these, but focus on just a few on a couple of pages. Birthday, of course, more birthday, florals, sentiments. These are things that will really carry you throughout the whole year. This set really coordinates nicely with that lovely paper pack that I showed you at the very beginning. And kids stuff, congratulations on babies. Here's that catatube that I showed you earlier. This is on page 26 and 27. There's also the dogs, and that's called Let's Potty. Farm animals, and there's going to be a kids craft project going on later this month using this stamp set with some really fun card designs that kids can make. And the gnomes were such a hit in the last catalog. We've now got a set that'll go year round. I'm going to come back to this page because that's what I've done the most work with. You've got some more for your pets, sympathy for that, general prayers and love going out. And here's a set on page 34 that really focuses on using that tabbed door design and also just some other borders. The border sets are great to use. They are so versatile and work so well throughout the year, so I really like that. I mentioned the seasonal trees. Here they are, 4 different seasons. You can see the way that the window die was used with those as well. So let's go back to these 2 sets. Actually, there's 6 total here on pages 30 and 31. Here are the 2 main stamp sets that I'm talking about. What I love is that there are 4 small sentiment stamps. These are our M-size stamp sets. So you've got Thinking of You, and it's 2 parts. So the second part is In Your Time of Need. With Deepest Sympathy, Thank You Kindly, and Happy Birthday. I think I've used all of these on cards for this project. Yes, Thank You Kindly was on a previous one that I showed. So these stamped images cover the entire card front. Well, I think 4 by 5 1/4, so the majority of the card front. So I'm going to work first with this floral pattern, and it's called Floral Details in Background, which is perfect. It has an opening in the stamp set so that you can either stamp a sentiment or add something over the top of it. So what I want you to see is this first one that I did with it. And what I did was I embossed this with clear embossing powder on foil. Now, it looks like it's been etched in there, honestly, when you see it up close. It's just the detail is so fine and just really quite nice. Then I used the stitch circle stamped for thinking of you and one of the little leaves that's right here at the bottom to finish off that sentiment. On the next one, I embossed it in white, and I used some of the things I'll talk about in the multimedia portion with the Distress Oxide inks, and I inked up the background. And then I did a Jennifer McGuire trick, and I used my water brush to paint over the flowers and remove some of the color so that there's a little bit of a change there. I decided that I wanted just a portion of this, so I cut it, and I still put my bracket for my sentiment in the same location, but I added that there. And this is actually that border die that I showed you earlier with the scallop. I've just hidden the heart section of it. So there's a couple of options of what you can do with this border and background and floral detail stamp set. So now there's the other one. And what I wanted to point out was on this one, this is a very elegant looking card, and this is more whimsical. So you can change it up. They don't all have to look the same. And that's true with this one as well. So this is the first one that I did. Again, I embossed it in white, and then I used our regular dye inks. This is Wisteria and Peach from the Close to My Heart collection, in order to lightly ink this sentiment area and then work out with the wisteria. It's really the idea that's in the book on page 30. You'll see a card very similar to this. And then it is the sympathy sentiment, which is just very delicate, and I really like the touch of that one. But to make it totally different, instead of having the pattern go up and down, I rotated it. So here you go. And that happy birthday stamp is taller than it is wide. So it worked perfectly in here to achieve that look. And this is that same stamp set again that I pointed out to you before, that has the birthday, has the balloons, has the bouquet on it. And that's what I used to decorate it with. So this is Carolina ink. And then I used markers in order to color those things in. Again, it's the same background stamp, but totally different feels with the two cards depending upon how you use it in your project. There was quite a bit of excitement with the consultant base when we discovered that we were going to be carrying Distress Oxides and some of the gloss spray from Dina Wakley and stencils and multiple things that could be lots of fun. I don't have it all, and I haven't played with everything yet. Still waiting for a couple of the colors on the gloss spray. And the Distress Oxides, the consultants bought them all, so they're on back order right now, but will be available again very soon. So everyone can participate in that. Some of you have been working with Distress Oxides for a long time, so that might not be new to you, but to others, it is new. So in order to work with some of those, we, Close to My Heart, created some stencils. Okay, so here you can see this beautiful lace pattern, and this is stencil pack 1 on page 81 of the catalog. And I just wanted to show you, when I first saw that we only had the 12 by 12 stencils, I thought, oh, I wish some of them were a little bit smaller. But you know what? I'm not concerned. This is one that I did, and literally I did it with the Close to My Heart dye inks, not with the Distress Oxides, okay? So I started, you can see here where I started and then blended out, so I ended up with quite a different color by the time I ended up at the edge of the paper. You could literally just stencil a 12 by 12 piece of paper and then come in and cut it, or you could just place it where you want and do this. Also a part of stencil pack 1 is this, to me it looks like a mum a burst kind of a thing. And so that's kind of the perspective I took on it when I worked with it. And I inked it 3 different times. First, I used canary yellow. That's my backing. Then I moved the stencil and did it again in nectarine, the orange. Finally, I moved it one last time and I put paprika over the top of it. And you saw when I was doing the stitched brackets, how putting that stitched bracket right over the top of this just made the card. That's it, you're done. And so you're creating your own background papers with this. The last stencil in pack 1 is this heart one. And it's fun. I haven't really played much with this one. My eye was drawn to the other 2. So I will work more with this and you can see how something comes out with that as well. But you don't have to necessarily purchase these stencils. You can create your own 2 ways. Remember, I showed you the stencil film that we have back with the specialty papers. And so I used that stencil film. You can either cut it with one of your electronic machines, or you can use one of the dies. And that's what I did with this. So I used that, then I laid it down over the paper. Now these I did use Distress Oxides on. I need to trim it before I actually use it. And it moved around a little bit, but you know what? I can easily cover that with something, so I'm not too concerned about it. But I'm taking that die and getting another use out of it and being able to create just whatever I want. Now for inking, we are selling the Ranger mini blending tools, which I really love. I've used them for quite some time since I used to work a lot with alcohol inks. I do have, and I do like the blending brushes for some things, but for me, the way I have to put the pressure on this one with my finger to get a good firm pressure, I have wrist problems and hand problems, so that isn't working so well. So I've ended up using these for all of the blending that I have been doing on this. Blending, that's what I did on the background here. I started with yellow, the canary yellow. I went down and I did the sage green and then finished it off with the New England ivy. So that's considered to be the multimedia. And again here, using the Distress Oxides, I started off with the orange color, it's spiced marmalade, and then the abandoned coral, and finally the picked raspberry down here. And it just blended in really nicely. And I don't know if you can see how the flowers are lighter than the rest. So it's kind of fun that way, using the water technique over it. And then again, with this one, these are my Wisteria and Peach blending brushes that I used on this card. So the gloss spray is truly an enamel spray, and I need to do a little research to figure out what's going to be the best way to use this. The colors are bright and vivid, and I'm really anxious to find that out. So that will be coming. We also have the Stickles glitter gel. Here's the page in the catalog. I don't have any of that yet. I've not really played with the paste yet, the texture paste. So let me work with that first, and then down here with the texture paste, and then I'll get going with the stickle gel. But you can see there's 2 other stencil packs available to you, and the possibilities are endless if you have any kind of a die cutting machine. Our last category, but it's the thing that you usually put on at the end anyway, and those are the embellishments. We've got some great new embellishments, and these start on page 66. I already shared with you the shimmer trim that is the Bluebell, the new color of the year. But you will notice in the catalog that we have, in addition to our regular black, silver, and gold, which are carrying over, we also have flamingo, that pink new color, grape, and lemonade. So 4 new shimmer trims there. These are all 3/8 of an inch. I was going to say about 1/2 an inch, with adhesive backing on them already. So it's really easy just to add them onto your project. They cut very nicely on your cutter if you can make a thin cut, and it's just great. Now over here on page 67 are some of the other new things. Let's take a look at those. So Here at the bottom of the page, you will find these little adhesive flowers, both white and the multicolored. And they each have a little tiny glue dot on the back. I don't know if you can see that on here. Yeah, there we go. So they have a glue dot on the back. You just pick them off and stick them down on your project. And then something that gives you a little variety that can be used in a generic or masculine application. And it's these little sunbursts. And I really like the fact that we've got that black. Sometimes that touch of black just kind of pops on something very, very nicely. On this page also, we have those bluebell sequins that I mentioned before. We still have the silver and the gold. And we've added the gold stars. We had the silver last year. Now we have the little gold stars, which go great into your shaker and envelope really, really well. So if you flip the page, I'm going to move these out of the way here for a second. If you flip the page, you're going to see some of the gems. Now, we know that we've had, actually these are, the pearls and the gems are here on this page. So these are also available if you continue going on to page 70, we've got these gems in gold and silver as well. So that's really nice. The pearls, I believe, are just in the bluebell. But you're going to see up at the top, left of page 68, the bitty beads that I referred to when I was showing you the shaker cards that I had created. And it is really fun to see. And how small those little tiny beads are. They come in a 4-pack. These are the bold. So this green goes with the bold. These 4 come in the bright set, okay? And they come on this, in this packaging. I'm gonna open the one that's empty so I don't spill them. Each compartment opens separately, and then you can just put them into either. These are smaller containers that I had in my stash. These are the craft jars that we sell. I love the lightweight plastic and how easily that lid comes off. So those are some options for storing those. But you can see here in this card how those little bitty beads are there. Just is a different element in there instead of always using sequins when you are doing a shaker element. Okay, so let's move those out of the way. The other thing that you're going to find on pages 68 and 69 are a variety of acrylic and wood shapes. Here's what's really fun about these, is that you've got different styles of the different elements. So there are arrows, there are hearts, there are stars, there are birthday sentiments, another one called hugs and hello, and love today. So here, all these different varieties, but they come one set in acrylic, one set in wood. So you could choose what option you want. And I want you to see what some of the options are that you can do with these. So acrylic, we've had acrylic for a while. This was an acrylic heart that was in the last catalog. And this is the same heart, but take a look at the difference, okay? This one, I covered it with Versamark pigment ink and embossed it with gold embossing powder, and it worked great. Here is a yellow star that's in the current catalog, and here it is, same star, but now it's black. Did the same thing. I just put it face down onto my Versamark mat and then covered it in embossing powder and heated it up. And it is great. A lot of versatility with that. Now, I've got wooden stars, okay? And I can change them as well. So here's one that I took my shimmer brush to, okay? Can you see the little bit of shimmer? I mean, there's a lot of shimmer on that. I'm just trying to get it in such a position on the camera that you can see that. And it goes so quick. I'm going to put this down here. And this is a Post-it note, okay? So what I've done is taken the sticky edge, and I'm going to set my little star on that sticky edge. And now I'm going to come in, I'm going to use the red. I got this one ready before. And I'm just going to go right over the top of it. And you'll notice that it's really, really goopy right now. So I'm going to take a little bit. Luckily, my Kleenex box was at hand. There we go. I just took that off. And take a look now at my red shimmery wood shade. So when you look at those items in the catalog, don't think of them as just yellow stars. Think of them as being versatile. The wood as well. It can become any color that we've got in our shimmer brush line. And that is a perfect segue into talking about coloring elements that we've got. So if you turn to page 75 in your catalog, you are going to see that we are adding a number of new shimmer brushes. Okay, this is my stash right here. These are everything that we've had up to this point. The shimmer brushes have not arrived yet, I don't believe. The pandemic closed a number of the factories that we use to produce some of our products, and that is why some of the things are a little bit delayed coming in for the new catalog cycle. But they will be here, okay? So when you look at page 75, you're going to see all of the colors, and there's a lot of new ones: scarlet, desert rose, flamingo, grape, bluebell, peacock, avocado, sundance, paprika, and espresso. And I think I have made use of almost every single one of these. I just really am a fan of the shimmer brushes. So that is a good way to get going with things. If you are still on page 74 and 75, you'll notice that we have stickles and we've added liquid pearls to the list. Now, I consider stickles as a way to color, and you're probably wondering why. They just kind of, you put dots down and make accents. But take a look. Some of you have seen the information on my gnome Christmas card kit. Take a look at his shirt. That is all done with the diamond stickles. I just put it on very lightly. Years ago, I used to literally use a paintbrush to paint stickles on to give an effect, but it dried really quickly. So I just think I used 2 layers of stickles on his shirt in order to get that, which is really fun. We've added new colors to stickles, and of course, all of the liquid pearls are new to us as well. Now we're going to go back a page. This was a real popular addition last year, which were the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. We had the essentials. We had 24 new markers along with black and a blender. Well, this year we have 24 new ones. These are the deep blend markers. And I now can have all of these markers in one spot so that I can pull out what I need. So we had, for instance, I'm trying to find one where, okay, blue turquoise blend. Move that over, blue turquoise blend. Now we have blue turquoise shade. They're complementary. They continue on in the color spectrum from this lighter one to the darker ones. True blue blend, true blue shades. Dark red blend, dark red shades. So you're getting a number of additional colors with that. What Close to My Heart is recommending right now is to use the Spectrum Noir storage system, which is, these are, I have, the markers are in 4 different shelves. They have spots for 12 markers on each row, and they build on top of one another. And I'm able then to set them so that they stay horizontal, which is the way that you need to keep these stored. And then I can now just pull out the color that I want, and that has been really, really nice. One last thing that we also got in Spectrum Noir is a several sets of metallic markers. These are on page 73, and I just thought I'd show you a couple of them here. I bought just the rare minerals, okay? But they come both with a brush end and a fine tip end. So here's the brush end, and then I can write with the fine tip end, and I just love that. They do not fit into the Cricut, I will tell you that. But otherwise, I don't have any problems with these at all. They just flow and are beautiful. So there's 4 sets total that you can get of these, and they are on page 73 with the other markers. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is something that we've always had, and that's a set of watercolor pencils. Now, the manufacturer of our last set of watercolor pencils no longer made what we had been purchasing, so they went to a new set. I recently was able to get that. You'll find this on page 71, okay? And I used them for the first time the other day, and they just are so creamy. I love how well the color just lays down very, very nicely. And I don't even really need to add water to that. I usually do add some kind of light liquid to it, but it's fun. It's fun to have a variety of uses, particularly if I don't want the color soaking through the paper. I don't want to use my alcohol markers, so the colored pencils work really well for that. You can color with the shimmer brushes. I've done bouquets completely with the shimmer brushes. So lots and lots of options. And now that we've got the metallic ones as well, who knows where we'll go. Wow, there's a lot of craftiness in those 100 pages of that catalog. So don't forget, you can either check this out on my website, or you can get one in your first order when you place an order on my Close to My Heart website. Or if you need to see one before that, just get in touch with me. I'm going to put my email address up here as soon as I sign off with you, and it'll also be down in the comment section. Don't forget, I will be having this walkthrough in the seasonal book in just a couple of days, so be sure to watch for that. Thanks for joining me. I'm so glad that you were here.